I would request every teacher educator to look into this particular aspect. There is an epistemological context to NEP and the whole, the operative part of education system across the globe. And what is that epistemological context is knowledge abundance and knowledge redundance are happening simultaneously. This has a larger challenges to the way we learn and the way we memorize the things and the way we implement the things. Let me repeat it. For last decade or two, there is knowledge abundance and there is knowledge redundance. There is knowledge updation and therefore there is outdated knowledge. So updation and outdation is happening simultaneously. This is one epistemological knowledge related context to schooling, the whole education. This is one context we have to reflect on. It has implications for the learning. Number two, epistemological as a part of epistemological context. Maybe for the last 3-4 decades, knowledge generation is not happening within the disciplinary boundaries. Let me repeat this. For last 3 or 4 decades, or maybe 5 decades, knowledge generation is not happening within the limitations of disciplinary boundaries. It is happening between the boundaries. And this compels us to go for multidisciplinary aspect. So this is the context in which the NEP or the proposals are coming from. Number three, epistemological context, if I wish to present before you, is that knowledge application is growing day by day. From 16th to maybe till mid 19th century, it was knowledge generation stage, if you make it. It's a mostly discovery of principles, laws, and many other things. If you make a division, and after mid 19th century, it is not the discovery part. Discovery part is on, but invention part began. And we started inventing many tools. And therefore, technology begins to dominate human activities. And the epistemological context to education is how you facilitate technology in the process of teaching and learning. It is unavoidable. It is inevitable. Even if you consider it as an evil, it is inevitable evil. You cannot escape from it. And therefore, this is the third epistemological context to present day education system. And if I shift to one more context, because this is backdrop for NEP proposals. That is how I read NEP. And the economic context is knowledge is progressively becoming an economic category more than epistemological category. This is a very fundamental shift in looking at the knowledge. Let me repeat it. I would request everybody to reflect on it. Now knowledge is no more pure epistemological category. It acquired and it is being acquired more and more economic category. It is becoming economic. And when knowledge moves from epistemological status to economic status, knowledge becomes a commodity because it is an economic category. And this is very important. This has very important implication. The way we look at the education, the way we look at the learning, the way we look at the whole knowledge itself. And to substantiate my proposition, let's bring one very popular statement that has been there for the last 50 years, that the future economies, now it is not future economies, the present economies or knowledge economies. And I would request every participant to think why an economy is called knowledge economy. We know that there were agricultural economies, there were industrial economies, there may be primitive economies, There may be tribal economy. And why people are calling 21st century is a knowledge economy and knowledge societies. Does it mean that the previous centuries there was no knowledge? While doing agriculture, don't we, the agricultural farmers possess knowledge? When we are entering into industrial arena, does it mean that there is no knowledge in industrial production process? And why do we call 21st century as a knowledge economy and knowledge society? The simple reason is that knowledge has become a productive force on its own. Earlier, knowledge was associated with other productive means of productions, maybe land, industries, and others. But now, knowledge on its own has become a productive force, a means of production. And when knowledge becomes a means of production, very interestingly, knowledge acquires an economic orientation rather than epistemological orientation. And this is where we can see patent rights, knowledge privatization. It is not school privatization, knowledge privatization is happening. And patent means this is my knowledge. And very interestingly, you can claim that this pen belongs to me. But now you begin to claim that this knowledge belongs to me. We normally believe in Indian tradition, knowledge belongs to everyone. Knowledge belongs to community. And knowledge is not one's own private property. As you can have a car, you cannot have a knowledge. And very interestingly, the context in 21st century is knowledge is becoming an economic category. When it becomes economic category, very interestingly, it is considered as commodity. And you can link it with the privatization and all those things. And that is not my point of talk now. So this is the epistemological and economic context to all recommendations that are there in an EP, and therefore we have to look into this. And let me bring one more dimension for reflections, very solid reflections. Normally, school education is considered an education, lettered education. It is based on literacy, right? It is worded education. If I put Paulo Freire's word, the schooling is worded knowledge. The knowledge is through the words, through the Shabdajnana. And very interestingly, when every child is asked to enroll in the school system, which we call universal compulsory education, and children are potentially taken away from the working process, which were happening in the home, in the streets, in the mohallas. And when every child, as mandatory, as constitutional mandatory, is supposed to come to school, and they are potentially taken away from the work and put into the world. Now, and this recognition makes that since every child is in the school, number one, this is again a context, since every child is in the school for a potential period of 10 years, 10 to 12 years, and they are potentially out of the productive process, vocational process, work processes. And if you keep every child in the school for 10 to 12 years, then there is no other option except to bring vocations into the schools, to teach the work. And this is could be the reason why introduction of vocational education right from the beginning. Maybe now we are calling 6th class. Maybe from tomorrow it may be class 1. Even computer codings and all those things are introduced right from primary schools. Because coding is an economic potential more than epistemological potential. And therefore, very interestingly, because of this, we are entering into this. This is one dimension we have to reflect upon. And third aspect which I want to share with you for your reflections in the seminar is that how technology is going to shape schooling and teacher education. And technology, I would say, it is mentioned in NEP and NCFSE. It is a disruptive technology. Now here I think very big paradox, if I call, or a contradiction. We have to address this because the document says centrality of the teacher in learning process. Right? This may be a cultural dimension to this school. Because here comes the cultural dictum that the Guru Devo Bhava. No, we don't want to take away that position of the Guru from the teaching learning process. We want to continue it. And therefore, centrality of the teacher in classrooms, in learning. This is one. And bring technology in a big way into the classroom. Again, this is also a recommendation. And being a teacher for the last 3 decades, how technology is going to change my role as a teacher in the class. And how technology is going to change the way we learn in the class and outside the class. And how technology is going to reshape, remodel, redefine class. And how technology brings a radical change the way we look at the class and we locate the class. So therefore, this technological introduction on a big scale into the school system, into the learning process, is it going to change radically the role of the teacher? And this is where the cultural construction, Guru Devo Bhava, the technological necessity, Google Devo Bhava, how do you bring these things together? Whether Guru Devo Bhava or Google Devo Bhava. And who is going to be dear to the students? Whether Guru or Google. We have to think realistically. And therefore, this is going to disrupt. So therefore, the very notion of space, and let me repeat it, the very notion of space, learning space, is undergoing a radical change. The very notion of teaching is undergoing a radical change. Otherwise, my lecture is a not possibility in this seminar. And we are bringing technology in a big way, and we saying teacher is the center of the educational activity. And here, my critical reflection is an assistive technology may begin to become replacing technology. That is my concern as a teacher educator. Because post-pandemic classrooms we have been observing for the last 3 to 4 years. The post-pandemic has radically altered the perception of the teachers towards the learning, perception of the students towards the learning. When I say learner, it is not higher education learner, even a 6th class child, a primary school child. The way they are looking at the learning. Because during pandemic, on big scale, we introduced technology. In fact, technology pervaded the whole classrooms. That was the alternative, that provided an alternative. And that alternative, very interestingly, could replace the traditional notions of the teacher and teacherhood. So can we debate on this in our seminars? So on one side, cultural notion of Guru Devo, we don't want to leave the teacher outside classroom. On the other hand, the technology is pervading the classroom. One is wishful thinking. Centrality of the role of the teacher in classroom is a wishful thinking for me. And introduction of technology is an imperative. It is not wishful thinking. It is an imperative. You cannot do without it now in 21st century. So therefore, how we balance these two things? Who is going to win in this battle between Google or Guru? A physical Guru or, and therefore, if you look at historically, because historical perspective is very important to understand the present. And when we look back into the history, we should be little realistic. Realistically, we have to look at and locate historical processes. And if I look at Gurudeva Bhava, the cultural construction of Indian education system, this was constructed where the direct contact between the teacher and student was only the mode of learning. Let me say only the mode of learning. Because knowledge was deposited with the teacher. And if you want knowledge, you have to interact with the teacher. There is no other source of the knowledge. Or if I put it in this way, during ancient times, till printing is invented, the source and resource of the knowledge was the teacher. The source and the resource of the knowledge was only the teacher. And when printing started, source and resources are separated. Because now knowledge is maybe in the form of information, maybe in the form of content is available in a textbook. And very interestingly, when textbooks are there in everybody's hand, and now teacher is not directly interacting with the child. Teacher is interacting with the child through the textbook. Because teacher has to teach text, not the knowledge that he or she has. But previously, teacher was teaching whatever that was there in the mind. But now, textbook has become a major resource. Technology has become a major resource. Now, I don't need a physical teacher in the classroom. I may be having the digital teachers on the screen. And physical teacher has a competition coming from the digital teacher. So now, physicality and digitality, if they compete, who is going to win? Please reflect on this. Because if we do not address the potential paradoxes, potential contradictions, because when technology is disrupting, very interestingly, the roles and relations between teacher and taught will certainly undergo a change. Certainly. There is no other say for it. Because the respect that I get in my classroom, because my role is very predominant. The same respect I may not get in the classroom because I am not the sole source of the knowledge. There are many sources. Text is there, guides are there, digital material is there, digital teachers are there. The convenience between physical teacher and digital teachers is this, precisely this. In front of physical teacher, being a learner, I have to submit my freedom to the teacher. Let me repeat it. In a physical setting, being a learner, I have to submit my freedom to the teacher. But in front of digital teacher, I can enjoy my freedom. I can stop it when I don't want. I can operate it when I want. And therefore, it is in my hands, in learner's hand. Learner is getting more and more freedom in front of the digital teacher. And therefore, can we reflect on these very fundamental aspects of classroom? How it is going to change the entire nature of learning. And that is why many recommendations coming from UGC and even at school level, very interesting. Now, a student can learn 2 degrees simultaneously. Earlier, this was not allowed because 75% attendance is compulsory. Now, when I am doing 2 degrees simultaneously, this attendance business is gone. And therefore, very interestingly, there are blended modes of learning. Now we are in blended mode. Can we call, is it a facility or is it a problem to the physical class? So my ultimate question is whether technology is going to assist us, whether technology is going to replace us. This is very critical question. If we don't address this, we will be in problem. Because we have to address it, and there comes, I put it at the beginning, knowledge abundance and knowledge redundance. The knowledge that I have learned in my 10 years schooling becoming redundant the moment I am entering into the higher education. The moment I study my first year graduation, and that knowledge is mostly becoming outdated. My mobile phone, yesterday I took it, today it has become outdated because there is upgradation. So knowledge generation is happening at a faster pace. Inventions are happening at a faster pace. And therefore, the knowledge that I learned in my graduation is not going to be relevant when I become the teacher. And that is where comes the lifelong learning. Very great saying by the UNESCO. You should become lifelong learner. My generation, whatever we learned in the university, that is fine. There is no need to go for lifelong learning because knowledge is not becoming outdated at a faster pace. Whatever that I learned, I have to transmit. But now, whatever that I have learned as a student is not going to help me much when I become a teacher. Therefore, I must learn, relearn, unlearn. These are the terms used in an EP. They have very solid meaning behind them because they are coming from context. So, therefore, can we learn this? Can we debate this? And before I leave, I want to pop up one more important aspect. I hope I have 2-3 minutes. Sadananji? Yeah.
Yes, please.
So, the last aspect. We have in Indian educational discourse for the last 2 decades, the most of the focus is on pedagogy. The focus on system is gradually coming down. And very interestingly, technology is inevitable evil. It is a compulsory evil if you call it as a evil. In fact, it is not a evil, it is a great facilitator. But while facilitating it, it replaces you. That is the problem with the technology. And very interestingly, humans have, you and me, born with 2 potentials, 2 powers. One is physical power, the other one is the mental. Hard technology, starting from 16th century to mid-19th century, the hard technology that we see, started assisting humans in doing the things, but slowly it is replacing them from doing physical work. Now, physical work is assigned to hard technology. And yesterday, road was laying down in my campus. And when road was laying down, in a day, the whole road was laid. And I was thinking, during my childhood, I was recollecting when road was laid down, there were 50 workers working day and night and laying road by taking 5 days. Now, a road is laid down in 10 hours by using 3 workers. It means it replaced potentially 150 workers. Because in 3 days, 50, 50, 50, 130, and it is done by 3. Now, it is physical replacement. And we thought that teacher is mental active. Teachers cannot be replaced. Now, AI is coming. Now your mental activity is taken over by the technology. And very interestingly, It is an existential question to us. It is existential question in the sense humans are humans because they do something. Let me repeat, this is very important. Humans are humans because they do something. I am a teacher, that is my doing. Right? One is a carpenter because it is their doing. One is a driver because it is their doing. And in fact, our identity card indicates that what you do. So identity means what you do. Very interesting. There is no other identity than what you do. And when doing is transmitted to technology, what you are. If teaching is done by the robot, what I am, my existential identity is in a big crisis. Now, the physical manual laborers are in a crisis, and that is why migration. And not only manual laborers are in crisis, now the mental laborers, the first category is the teacher, because we deal with the mind. Though we never mind, but we deal with the mind. So therefore, when mental labor is also slowly transferred to technology, is it going to assist us? Is it going to replace us? And this is where debates must be focused. And therefore, these kinds of gatherings should come out with very realistic arguments. We should not be carried over by the great propositions. We must sit and we can see how changes are happening in front of our eyes in classroom. And every teacher is complaining in a high school that children are not paying attention in the classrooms. And if you ask every child why you are not paying the attention in the classroom, no, I have a material in YouTube. And very interestingly, one of the child said, when French Revolution was discussed in the classroom, I could not understood. And when I saw the Gujarati YouTube, I understood whole of the French Revolution. Because many things are coming in that YouTube. So therefore, is it not an existential crisis? We have to think, we have to reflect. And therefore, apart from this, let me take one more minute with your permission. There is one more important aspect. What technology does in any society, in any classroom. And technology simply amplifies what is. It magnifies what is. 10 clerks can release 10 tickets in 2 minutes. But one computer can release 1,000 tickets in 1 minute. It amplifies, it magnifies. And when technology is amplifying what is, definitely we prefer technology, not human beings. And human beings के साथ तो झगड़ा है. Because teacher asks sit right, but YouTube does not ask sit right. And teacher asks don't talk. YouTube do not ask don't talk. Because learner is the master in front of YouTube. And learner is, you have to submit freedom in front of teacher. And therefore, these are very critical questions we have to think on in conferences of this kind that will really pave the way and move forward. So these are my submissions. There are many submissions to make, but looking at the time, I hope you would reflect on it. And again, I thank organizers for providing an opportunity to share my view. Thank you. If any questions are there, I will now know.
We were completely spellbound listening to you about the technology, its invasion, quality, and all. Interesting to learn about how simultaneously we are getting outdated and getting updated. And technology created education, of course, and centrality of teacher along with these things. And it was another interesting thing was Gurudev and Gurudev. And when you started talking about assistive technology and replacing technology, of course, you have given food for our thought in this seminar, and of course, we will brainstorm on it. But many of our students want to know about your personal opinion. Do you yourself believe personally that technology can really replace?
Okay, it's our belief system should not come in the way of while analyzing things. Right? That is the biggest problem we have been doing. Let us have beliefs, that is a different thing. But social process do not stop because of our beliefs. And technology is, it's not replacing, let me tell you, is radically modifying the role of the teacher. So teachers must be ready for that radical remolding of oneself. So we have to make ourselves relevant beings. No, technology says you are irrelevant being. We have to make that no, I am relevant. Being a teacher, being a human being, being teaching learning is a humane profession. I am relevant in the world. That must come from us. And in order to make ourselves very relevant, we have to do first thing, we have to unlearn certain things and we have to relearn. If we do not unlearn certain things in order to make ourselves relevant and relearn according to these contextual changes, contextual demands, then I think we will become Ivan Illich maybe in 1969, one of the very firecracker book, Deschooling Society. He imagined deschooling society in 1969. And he wrote a book, Deschooling Society. In the future, there will not be schools. Because in what is school? If you look at, again, you can think, school is institutionalization of learning. That institutionalization of learning is slowly paving the way for deinstitutionalization. And that is where we like. Therefore, we have to re-articulate ourselves to make ourselves relevant. Technology, if we do not bring very conscious restrictions on the use of technology, right? It will definitely replace us. Even I don't believe that it cannot replace. It is not going to stop because I have a belief. Because because now we are seeing every field. Not in the last 10 years, if I give you, the banking sector expanded hundreds times. Banking sector expanded 100 times. But if you look into the recruitment into the banks, is not expanded because 100 clerks work is being done by one ATM. Is it not replacing? It is replacing. Now we think that no, ours is a mental work, it cannot replace. Please let us not be in that hollow belief. Because the very nature of education is undergoing a change. No, otherwise, how can you see? Just 1 week back, 400 IT employees were asked to leave within no time in Mysore Infosys. Within no time, within half an hour, you have to leave. Who were working there for last 2 years because they became redundant. Now you have to make yourself relevant. No, I am not redundant. I am relevant. Technology makes us redundant, no doubt about it. You have to make yourself. No, I am relevant. That is where relearning is necessary. So I would request everybody to reflect on this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. One very important and significant takeaway from your talk that I must need to work along with technology to keep myself relevant in the field. And of course, all of us are teacher trainees do that. Thank you very much for your beautiful input. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having allowed me to share my ideas. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, the digital part of this seminar is done, and we will continue. This session is not over. Sir, now it is physical part. Good. So I would invite the speaker of this session to take on the stage, please. Professor Purnachandra Behra, NKCCT and Dr. Ashok Diggal, Assistant Professor, RT Women's University, Bhubaneswar, and Dr. Ajay Kumar, employee, City College. Kindly take on the stage, sir. And this is the second part of the second session. We are continuing in this session. Okay, please. Maintain silence. Yes. The next speaker I would introduce and invite or address Professor Purnachandra Behra. He is a veteran distinguished educationist with an MA and MPhil from Ravenshire and PhD in education from Patna University. Having started his career in 1996, he has 27 years of rich experience of teaching in Patna University, Koraput, Angul, and Balasur. He has been the principal of CTE Balasur since 2023. He guided research scholars, published around 30 articles and 2 books, and composed many 25 Odia poems. He has witty qualities as well. It's an absolute delight to have him on board. I request him to kindly present his address. Please, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody. Honorable President of this session and Principal of this institution, and friends, and of the Department of Education, Kandhamal College, also, and another chief also, Professor Ashok, and Professor Vimal Frank, and Professor Subhash Chandra Pradhanji, and other dignitaries that is over here, and my dear students of the first year and second year, and many participants. Okay, this is a very unique opportunity to participate in this seminar. And first of all, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to the principal and staff member for inviting me to share my views here. And this presentation is for 2 minutes only, and my original paper presentation will be made later. So I am not going to take much of your time here. And the topic is here, the changing paradigm of teacher education in the context of NEP 2020, and a lot of things have been discussed by our Dean of Address, Professor Rajgopal Shah, and one is Kalinga. Ramesh Kaur. Very beautifully, I was listening to him. Very beautifully, he was describing how a shift has been made. Actually, it's a very crucial time that technology is changing day by day, and the requirement of the school is also changing day by day. So we have to prepare, since it's a teacher education institution where all teacher educators and our teachers also, so in a different context. So we have to see that how we have to prepare our future teachers to address the changing needs of the students. That's a challenge before us. So, in this context, NEP 2020 has given a lot of recommendations, and simply giving the recommendations is not enough, and it is our responsibility to implement it in our practical field. We have to see that what are the actual problems that our students are facing in the schools, and actual problems that our prospective teachers are also facing in our teacher training institutions, and we have to make a balance, we have to create a balance between this teacher education institution and the practical field of the schools. And we have to decide and we have to check out the way how to address the problem of the school. So this is how this changing this particular topic, the changing paradigm of teacher education is going to address it. And next thing I would like to tell you that we, the teachers, should also change ourselves. But how to change our position in the changing technology? Mr. Professor Rambo was telling that we have established ourselves over the Google, since we are all Google, we have to establish, we have to justify our relevance. Isn't it? So it's a very unique opportunity. Our guests are also here. They will speak about it, and my paper is also there. Let us say I will present my paper also. So I hope all will share your views about this topic, and we will have a great deliberation for this topic. Thank you all.
राकेश
Why living? Why living? Don't leave the class. Position 150. Stick to the time. Thank you very much, sir. Now we have Dr. Ashok Tikar. He has more than 25 years of rich experience of teaching at guide and B.Ed colleges, and in 2020 he joined RD Women's College. Now he is associated with RD Women's University, Bhubaneswar. He has been significantly contributing to the educational scenario of our state, we can say, and it's a fortunate thing to have him on board. I invite you to kindly present your address, please.
समस्तଙ୍କୁ ମୋର ନମସ୍କାର। A very good afternoon to one and all present over here. Esteemed principals of B.Ed Training College, Kalinga, Kandhamal, Professor Manoj Kumar Pradhan sir. Esteemed chief guest of the occasion, Professor Subhash Chandra Pradhan sir. Principal, Govt Autonomous College, Fulwani, Kandhamal. Esteemed guest of the occasion, Professor Bimal Charan Swami. Principal, KCB Bhanjangarh, DPIC Barampur. Esteemed Invited speaker of the occasion, Professor Purnachandra Behera sir, NKCT Angul. Esteemed invited speaker of the today's program, Dr. Ajay Kumar Penthoi, Head of the Department of Education, City College, Barampur. Esteemed invited guest, Dr. Dilip Kumar Khuntia, KSB City Bhanjankar, Assistant Professor of Education. All the esteemed faculty members of B.Ed Training College, Kalinga, Kandhamal, all the invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, participants, my dear friends and students. Friends, as you know that at the outset of the program, I would like to extend my gratitude and heartfelt thanks to Professor Manoj Kumar Behera sir, as my senior brother, big brother, to invite me as a speaker of the today's 2 days national seminar based on the changing paradigm of teacher education in the context of NEP 2020. Friends, as you know that change is the unchangeable law of nature. What about the teacher education? When each and every moment of the life, that is changing of the lifestyle, that is changing of the constitution, that is changing of the syllabus, that is changing of the curriculum, that is changing of the lifestyle of the each and every corner of the people. Then what about the teacher education? I think it should be changed according to the needs and requirement of the society as well as the learners in the present scenario. And in this context, as almost near about 3 to 4 speakers or the guests, they have already elaborated the context in context of the changing paradigm shift in teacher education with reference to NEP 2020. But I want to highlight 2 to 3 points based on the teacher education. Friends, teacher, it means the backbone of the society. Teacher, who is the social engineer of the society, it is the teacher who is like a kettle who consumes himself in order to provide the lights of education to the others. And we are fortunate enough, we all are gathered together, we all are belong to one community, that is teacher community. And in this context, the building of the nation, the future of the nation, and size of the nation, and the destiny of the nation largely being shaped in her classroom. And in this context, it is the teacher who is playing the very, very dynamic and outstanding role in order to shape the new, provide the new guideline, new direction to our future. And in this context, you all are the prospective teacher, future teacher of our nation, and you have a great role, dynamic role to provide the light of education to the society and common man as a whole. And in this context, as for the teacher education is concerned, the National Police of Education 1986 rightly said that whether he is a president of India, whether he is a prime minister of India, whether he is a professor of physics or the chemistry, it is the teacher who is playing as a dynamic role to make all these professions a realistic and dynamic one. Because teaching is such a profession who is the maker and creator and creation of the all kinds of the profession. And in this context, a teacher present the past and reveal the present and create the future. And I think there is no doubt at all. And a good education can change anyone, and a good teacher can change everything. As you know that the quality of education largely depends upon the quality of the teacher. And we all are working together in man-making industry that is called it may be Institute of Advanced Studies in Education, it may be College of Teacher Education, or it may be Teacher Training College. All these are coming under one umbrella that is called the Teacher Training Institution. And as you all are the prospective teacher, and I am as a continuing teacher, our motto is to contribute something for the holistic development of the learner, society, nation, and global as a whole. And these are the few institutions that are working from bottom to the national level, just like NCT, NCRT, ACRT, NIPA, Teacher Training Institution, Institute of Advanced Studies in Education, College of Teacher Education, Teacher Training College, DIET, ETI, B.Ed, for the betterment of the education. And here, once again, I want to highlight before you that here teacher education does not mean B.Ed program. Here teacher education does not mean diploma in elementary education. Here teacher education does not mean integrated B.Ed program or the 2-year B.Ed program. It means from the pre-primary education to up to the university level of education, how teacher education planning and preparing to provide a new shape, new direction, new vision, and new idea to raise the standards and quality of education from bottom to the top and top to the bottom. That is one of the objectives of teacher education. Next. 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 And this is all about the quality assurance in teacher education. Friends, as we know that there was a time in 1968, the first National Police of Education 1968, as for the second National Police of Education 1986, and Program of Action 1992 is concerned, almost all the policies they gave emphasis toward the product of the education. But this is the first policy who give emphasis toward the quality. And again, quality is a degree of freedom. Quality is a contextual, and quality differs from institution to institution. It differs from teacher to teacher. And whatever the situation, whatever the context, whatever the content, and whatever the problem or the situation, it is the teacher who is playing the very dynamic role in order to improve the standards and quality of education. And we are fortunate enough, we are in such an industry that is called teacher education institution. Next, next, next. And these are the few quality or indicator whom we call a good teacher. Because wearing a golapi sari or wearing a attractive branded clothes or wearing a or having a outstanding political background or attractive personality that does not become you become a successful or the attractive teacher. And in order to become a successful teacher, these are the few qualities that must be reflected in the field of he may be a female teacher or the male teacher. Look, just like the content of just like command over the subject and just like the teacher must have the command over the content area, competence area, that means the full of knowledge about the theoretical knowledge, practical knowledge, education knowledge, that is called the skill of pedagogy or the pedagogy of teaching, that means science of teaching, art of teaching, skill of teaching, what to teach, how to teach, whom to teach, where to teach, and why to teach. And if a teacher is able to understand all these fundamental principles, then I think the half of the training program of B.Ed is concerned, M.Ed is concerned, diploma elementary is concerned, it is offered up to my best of knowledge and idea is concerned. Next contextual. As you know that the quality of education, the quality of teacher differs from subject to subject, person to person, institution to institution. There is no doubt at all. Next is effective communication, or we may call the command over the language. Friends, as you know that two of the speakers are already highlighted through the online mode. They define that in order to provide the quality education, English is not a compulsory. Because English is not our mother tongue. Because if you teach in your mother tongue, at least up to the primary and up to elementary level, then definitely you can not only win the mind of the student, but also win the heart of the student. Why? Because someone rightly said, "Sir, I am very poor in English, but I am very strong in my mother tongue. If I speak in my mother tongue, it will spontaneously overflow my powerful feelings." That means in the mother tongue, not only capture the content area, but also understanding the difficult subject within a short time without any hesitation and difficulties. At the same time, it is the mother tongue that helps you to develop your creativity, to develop your innovation idea, to develop your divergent thinking, to develop your critical thinking. And that's why, as a prospective teacher, as a future professor of the teacher education program, it's my humble suggestion and request to all of you. You may not be good command over the English language, but try to develop a good command of your mother tongue so that you can not only win the mind of the student, but also win the heart of the student, and you can attract the audience towards the teaching learning process. Next. And these are the few purposes of the teacher education program. Next. Next. Uh, These are the school education structure as per the recommendation of NEP 2020. Just like the high foundational stage up to 3 to 8 years, 3 preparatory stage 9 to 11 years, middle stage 12 to 14 years, and 4 secondary stage that is 15 to 18 years. Next. Friends, as you know that in 1986 in the program of action 1992, they rightly recommended that sir, one nation, one curriculum, one system of education, and that is plus 2, plus 3, plus 2, 10, plus 2, plus 3 system of education, and one curriculum should be reflected all over the country. Yes, I am agree. And due to the changes of the time, due to the changes of the scenario, NEP 2020 recommended the different kind of the teacher training education program. Just like 4 years integrated B.Ed, that is called the after plus 2, in order to make the teacher education program a professional one. 2 years B.Ed program after the successful completion of the 3 years bachelor degree in the respective subject. 2 years M.Ed program after completion of the B.Ed program. 1 year B.Ed program that is meant for the 4 years successful completion of the bachelor degree, or we may call the after completion of the master degree in any discipline. And last one is integrated B.Ed M.Ed program. But my question is, dear friends, as B.Ed is mandatory for each and every teacher to become a teacher from pre-primary to up to secondary education, why there should be different kind of teacher education program or the B.Ed program? And this is the right time to think about the critically divergent way and rationally what should be the structure and real structure of the B.Ed program for the betterment of powerful India in 2030. Next, teacher education program. As you know that we all are near about 60 to 70 stand-alone teacher education institution working in Odisha in order to provide the quality education from pre-primary to up to secondary level. But as for the NEP 2020 is concerned, they recommended the multidisciplinary institution where that the more chances are to expose to the different subject to get the more idea, more knowledge, more information from the discipline. It may be science, it may be commerce, it may be arts, it may be vocational, it may be management, it may be engineering, so that it provides more opportunity to get more exposed as compared to the stand-alone institution. So that's why NEP 2020 recommended teacher education should not be stand-alone institution, rather it should be introduced in multidisciplinary approach. Next, as for the Justice Burma Commission in 2012 concern, friends, during my time, during the time of Professor Bimal Chandra Sai sir, during the time of Professor Manoj Kumar Pradhan sir, during the time of Professor Purna Chandra Behera sir, during our time, the B.Ed program is 1 year program, and our teacher said, sir, B.Ed patho dino ato. Kono thire bhabcho B.Ed patho dino ato. But in the Justice Burma Commission, they recommended that B.Ed is not a meant for the marriage. B.Ed is not meant for the merrymaking. It is a degree for the teaching. And what kind of teaching? It is a teaching for the to improve the standards and quality of education from pre-primary education to up to university level of education. And in order to make the teacher education a professional one, it should be 2 years, so that we can provide the plenty of theoretical and practical experience to our people teacher, prospective teacher, so that after completion of the B.Ed program, they should not feel that, sir, I am a all-trained teacher. Sir, I am not a confidence to teach mathematics, science, or physics, or chemistry, biology, or social science. Rather, he or she should feel that, yes, I completed my bachelor degree, master degree from teacher training institution, from the university or the college of education, and I have that much of confidence, and I have no problem at all. I can teach and I can provide the best education to my student up to my best of knowledge and effort. That is the recommendation of Justice Burma Commission to converted, restructured 1 year B.Ed program to 2 year B.Ed program. And another logic was, during that time, it means before the 2015 that the Muslim of the teacher training institution पैसा फेंको and B.Ed certificate लाओ ओडिशा में जॉब करो इसका मतलब it means पैसा नहीं कि लोक माने बैंगलोर यूनिवर्सिटी कुरुक्षेत्र यूनिवर्सिटी आंध्रा यूनिवर्सिटी काश्मीर यूनिवर्सिटी कोन करथले सर्टिफिकेट आनुथले एवं सेमाने चाकरी पाई जाउथले बट दे हैव नो कॉन्फिडेंस नो पेडागोजिकल आईडिया how to teach and whom to teach and how to teach effectively up to the needs and requirement of the learners. Next, as for the scholarship for meritorious students will be established for the purpose of attracting outstanding candidates to the 4-year, 2-year, 1-year B.Ed program. As for the instruction is given by your principal, my big brother, Professor Manoj Pradhan sir, Joldi Sarantu, who Sarejan Chahibi. So, in order to attract the good teacher, in order to attract the scholar student to our teaching profession, in the NEP 2020, who recommended there should be scholarship provision so that we can bring the attention of the good students to our teaching profession. Next. Friends, these are the few objectives recommended by NEP 2020 in order to provide the better pedagogy towards the teaching profession. One is learner-centric teaching. Second is discussion-based teaching, value-based education, and multidisciplinary approach like. Next. And these are the 5 pillars of NEP 2020. Please, access, affordability, accountability, equity, and quality. Friends, as you know that the standards and quality of Kandhamal, and I am also a product of the Kandhamal. Before joining in the Ramadevi Women's University, I was a senior teacher educator at Kandhamal. So I observed there are so many parents, they have a lot of dream and desire to send their children to the school, to provide the quality of education. But due to the socio-economical condition, due to the geographical barrier, and due to the different kind of the political reason, they are unable to send their children, to get the complete or quality education. But these are the few principles or the 5 fundamental principles recommended by the NEP 2020 to provide not only the quality and quantity education but also to provide the standards education to each and every children irrespective of the caste, color, sex and gender. କହିବାର ତାତ୍ପର୍ଯ୍ୟ ହେଲା ସବୁ ସୀମାରେଖା ସମସ୍ତେ ଟପନ୍ତି ସବୁ ସୀମାରେଖା ସମସ୍ତେ ଟପନ୍ତି ଗରିବ ନପାରେ ଟପି ଯେଉଁଠି ଥିଲା ସେ ସେଇଠି ରହିଛି ଅଭାବର ମନ୍ତ୍ର ଜପି ପ୍ରଗତିର ଗପ ଗପି ସରକାର ବେଳେ ପାହାବା ନିଅନ୍ତି ଗରିବ ନପାରେ ଚାଖି ଯୋଉ ବନ୍ଧୁମାନେ from the poor economic, socio-economical background or the low caste background, struggling in their day-to-day life, to get the light of education. And Kandhamal is that one of the most beautiful, suitable example for all of us. Next. And this is all about the gone are the days of the project method. Gone are the days of the problem-solving method. Gone are the days of the lecture method. Gone are the days of the seminar and conference. And as for the 5P model is concerned, recommended by the Atkins and Roger Bybee, that is also one of the days. Because NEP 2020 recommended the Indian knowledge system. It means our education, our curriculum, our syllabus, our education institution must reflect the Indian tradition, Indian culture, Indian values, and Indian value system, so that it attracts the students toward the school veranda. And in this context, instead of the 5P model, NEP 2020 recommended the Panchapadi. Panchapadi, it means 5 steps of learning. Jodio, ଆପଣ ମାନଙ୍କୁ ସାର୍ ଏବଂ ମ୍ୟାଡମ୍ ମାନେ କହିଥିବେ କ'ଣ ମୁଁ ଜାଣି ନାହିଁ but this is the NEP 2020 recommended for in order to provide the quality education from primary to secondary education as well as it is based on the Indian knowledge system. That is Aditi, it means introduction. Friends, as you know that in In Herbert step, introduction, presentation, evaluation, there was introduction. In 5P model, there is also engagement, that is also introduction. But in Panchapadi, there is also introduction. It means first impression lasts long. Unless and until a teacher is unable to introduce the lesson in an effective and efficient manner, then he or she cannot complete the lesson within the given period of the time. Next is both, that is called the conceptual understanding. यार कहियार अर्थ होला उड़ी गले गेडालिया झाड़ी देले परो बुझी गले पाठ को साधारणतः बुझी गले बीडी पाठ को छाड़ी जीव डर कहियार उद्देश्य हैला not encourage the student for the lot learning or the learning by the heart, rather we should encourage the student for the understanding the subject or the content area. And once they able to understand the subject matter, they never fail in their personal and professional life in order to become a successful teacher or leader in our society. Then obvious, practice makes a man perfect. In this context, if whatever the knowledge you may have, whatever the skill you may have, unless and until you do not develop the practice, you never become a successful teacher. So try to practice more and more, revise more and more, then automatically it will provide you enough strength in order to become a successful teacher. Then it, as you know that everybody is full of knowledge and information, but knowledge and information never solve the problem, rather skill will solve the problem, and that skill is nothing, that is called the application of the trial. କହିବାର ତାତ୍ପର୍ଯ୍ୟ ହେଲା जो भाई बंधु माने बा जो प्रोफेसर सार माने गाँव आसीथिबे जेतबे गाँव गोटे पचारियो बाबू रे आम गाँव जो पानीय समस्या अछि गोटे वीडियो को एप्लिकेशन रे लिखिलो आफ्टर कंप्लीशन ऑफ द B.Ed और MSc B.Ed जदि कहिबे सार मु विमल सार को के पचारिबी नले प्रोफेसर मनोज सार को पचारिबी मु एप्लिकेशन लिखिबी then you can realize the your project of the application and your value of your degree even after the completion of your B.Ed, BSc B.Ed or MA B.Ed or MSc B.Ed. That is the concept of the application or the project. Next is prosag or the expansion. That is called expansion of the knowledge. Because to acquire the knowledge, to gain the knowledge, there is no specific boundary line. It is a boundaryless. That means जे पक्षी उड़े जेते दूर से जाने तार व्यवहार जेते ज्ञान अर्जन करिबा जेते शिखिबार मनोवृत्ति रखिबा हमर ज्ञानर प्रसारण सेते अधिक मात्रा रे बढ़िबो एवं आमे बढ़िबा सहित अन्य को बढ़िबार मध्ये सुजग देबा these are the 5 steps recommended by NEP 2020 in order to teach effectively and efficiently within the given period of the time. Next. And this is all about my presentation regarding the NEP 2020 and teacher education. My request and humble suggestion to all the participants, due to the shortage of time and due to the instruction of your professor, my professor, and professor of the B.Ed Training College, Kalinga, Kandhamal, I am bound to complete my presentation within the given period of the time. Once again, I extend my gratitude and heartfelt thanks to all the invited guests, basically Professor Manoj Pradhan sir and all the students of Kalinga B.Ed Teacher Training College who invited me as a speaker of the today's seminar. That's all. Thank you.
It was really beautiful to describe teacher as a social engineer and a candle consuming itself for the progress of the society. We take note of that, and I would invite the last speaker of this session, Dr. Ajay Kumar Kantoi. He is a dedicated academician with a profound commitment to education, research, and institutional development. With over 2 decades of experience in teaching and administration, he has contributed significantly to the field of teacher education. He has served in various prestigious institutions across India, holding positions such as lecturer, leader, head of the department, assistant professor, and principal. Dr. Kantoi holds a PhD in education from Utkal University. His scholarly contributions include numerous research papers published in reputed journals and books on education and pedagogy. A passionate educator, researcher, and mentor, Dr. Petri aims to advance educational practices with dedication and excellence. I invite him to address the gathering, please.
Jai Jagannath. First of all, I would like to thank this organization, the organizers of this seminar, to invite me and to provide me a platform to stand up for you. Respected chief guest of this occasion, Professor Dr. Dimortan Charan Sai sir, the principal KSU B.Ed Training College, Professor Subhash Chandra Pradhan sir, the guest of honor of this occasion, principal of Kulbari Autonomous College, my friend and principal of this function, this institution, Professor Manoj Kumar Pradhan, my friend Purnachandra Behera, Professor, and my younger brother Ashok Kumar Digal, my young brother Dilip Kumar Puntia, all the dignified faculty members of this institution, intellectual masses present here, my beloved students, B.Ed trainees, prospective learners, media persons, and the ladies and gentlemen. As you know, the teacher education is at crossroad. For that purpose, we need a paradigm shift from traditional mode to modern mode. More specifically, NEP 2020 highlights and envisions we should have such a type of educational institution, teacher training program, teacher behavior and learners who can shape the nation for the future days to come, which is full of challenging tasks. So in this context, I would like to say, when India is going to be a superpower in the globe, and it has many things to be achieved, we should have to increase our wealth, capital, human resources, and everything. And we should excel in the world as a global leader. So at that moment, we should have to revive, we should have to reform the present teacher education system. For that purpose, the NEP 2020 highlights and envisions there must be a holistic and a comprehensive reform of teacher education system. What does it mean? You have watched it, you have witnessed, we have examined that teacher education has passed through many hurdles. And what the shape of the teacher education we are observing here, that is only making the teacher trainees who are full of intellectuality. They are profound in academic area, but they are less practicality and practical knowledge. What we require today, and discussion we had here that many research persons talked about many things about teacher education. So Ramesh Babu said, Professor deliberately explained that. So inside the classroom, technology will substitute the human teacher. Obviously, we are influenced so much by the technology that, and in our academic sphere, in our all the business sphere, in our life pattern, artificial intelligence has influenced almost all aspects of our life. Whenever I am searching some word in the Google, many similar words are coming. That is the function of artificial intelligence. So someone is saying that teacher will be replaced inside the classroom. Obviously, day will come. We should have to be prepared for facing that challenge. How can we enhance our capability? How can we enhance our efficiency? How can we enhance our potentiality so that we cannot be replaced? Whatever it may be, whatever the artificial intelligence will come, it cannot replace the real teacher who is teaching, who is transacting the curriculum inside the classroom, who is influencing the learner behavior. So paradigm shift has been witnessed from teacher-centered education system to learner-centered education system, learning-centered education system. We should have to provide ample opportunity, ample scope, ample facilities to our learners. We should have to facilitate their learning behavior. So first of all, we should have to shape our teacher behavior. So NEP also, NEP 2020 highlights to change the attitude, change the content, change the mode of operandi in the system of teacher education so that the teacher can be a vibrant teacher inside the classroom and will become influential for the students. So we need such a teacher education system which can shape our nation, which can build the nation, which can enhance the productivity of the nation. So in this hope, so welcoming or inviting the NEP 2020, it is a compulsion. आमी चाहिए बा न चाहिए आमी NEP 2020 को आमी रोकी दी परिवा नहीं. It is the national policy. It is the national compulsion. We should have to obey. We should have to compulsorily abide it. Matter is that we the teacher inside the classroom we should have to follow the instructions contained in the NEP 2020. We should have to work with the tune of the NEP 2020. We should have to practically implement the founding principles of the NEP 2020, whatever it has been mentioned, that is access, equity, quality, affordability, and accountability. We should have to ask ourselves as a teacher, as a responsible citizen, as a responsible teacher inside the classroom, whether we are accountable, whether we are providing affordable education, quality education to the students, whether we are quality enough, to stand before the students, whether we are potential before the students so that student will follow us, whether we are providing access to the education to all of the students coming into our classroom. So this is the question putting before us. We the teachers should have to address it. We should have to provide access of education to all the students, loving students who are coming to the classroom for their learning, for their future. We should have to provide quality education. We should have to provide affordable education. We should have to be accountable before the society, before the nation, before the classroom, before the students, before the parents. Then after, the dream of the NEP 2020 can be fulfilled. Another important thing is that we should have to change the role. We should be a role model inside the classroom. Unless and until we can be a role model before the students, then the dream of the NEP 2020 cannot be fully realized. We should have to shift our behavior to become more and more learner-centered behavior. We should have to love the students. We should have to provide the affection. We should have to provide the opportunity of entertaining environment so that all will be encourage us, more be motivated to come inside the classroom. Otherwise, like and dislikes, there will operate two factors. Some teacher will favor, some students will favor the teacher, some students will reject the teacher. So think about the issue, whether you will be liked by your students in that classroom or you will be disliked by your students in that classroom. It depends upon your labor, it depends upon your training, it depends upon your attitude, it depends upon your knowledge, which can be correlated with your teaching learning practices, which can be correlated with your directly proportional with your teacher training behavior. So this institution is preparing the teachers. So you the people are the teacher trainees. So you have this great responsibility to adhere the principle, to follow the preschool, to implement the preschools which are contained in the NEP 2020. So unless and until you will be coping up with the present teaching learning practices, you will be a failure teacher in your future days, and you will be substituted by the AI teachers. So with this, I hope the technical session will continue and you will learn many things from the learning faculty members who are present here to present their papers on different concerns of teacher education. So once again, I congratulate all the organizers and the student volunteers who have participated and make such a wonderful environment. They have created such a entertaining environment to make this program success. Thank you everybody.
Thank you very much, sir. Your talk comes as a reminder of the fact that we teachers have a great responsibility and accountability towards the society. Thank you very much for your talk. Now we are done with this session, and we would like to express our gratitude to the speakers who contributed significantly and came up with all good things with much of learning. And that's why I invite our students to come up with the felicitation procedure, please. Arati, yes. I request Professor Manoj Kumar Pradhan, my principal, please come to felicitate Professor Purnachandra Ganga.
Hey.
Then I request her to please felicitate Dr. Ashok Kumar Diggal. And I request her to please felicitate Dr. Ajay Kumar Tendulkar.